Awesome. Well, welcome everyone again to another episode of Jorie Tech Talks. And again, my name is Sal Lowe. I'm the CEO of Jorie AI, Advanced Automation. We've had a lot of conversations. This is going to be a really good and special one. We have our wonderful guest here that from Grapevine, Texas, a wonderful town right outside of Dallas Fort Worth. Angie McHorse, Angela Gair, and Judy Engel. And these are three wonderful ladies that you will want to know if you want to know how to scale a multi-billion-dollar organization from scratch. These ladies will tell you how to get there. So, anyways, we are in the healthcare space, healthcare technology space. We're an organization that is feeling a lot of the growing pains and are challenged with all the things that you might be challenged in healthcare, but also the main topics like staffing, recruitment, training, onboarding, project management. All of that is what we're going to talk about today. So let's start off with Angie McHorse. So Angie has a background of putting together organizational charts and infrastructure for the likes of Southwest Airlines, et cetera. And Angie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you came from, and what your roles and responsibilities are at Jorie?
Okay, Sal, thank you. Sure will. I joined Jorie a couple of years ago, just a little over 2 years ago. My title is Vice President of Corporate Strategies, and my focus is helping us build the infrastructure that it's going to take to build this approaching $1 billion valuation of a company. So we've got lots of challenges in front of us, but we've got lots of assets and lots of support, not just within the company, but outside of the company. So I'm excited to bring all of those two together, or those things together, to make this materialize, this infrastructure that we're going to have in place to mobilize the company.
That's awesome, Angie. And then, Angie, tell us a little bit about, before you were with Jorie, you did some work with Southwest Airlines in regards to helping them get infrastructure and scale during a time of 9/11. Could you elaborate a little bit on that cool story?
Yeah, absolutely. My the lion's share of my career was at Ernst& Young as in the IT space, building software and scaling up software in companies across many industries, from telecommunications, oil and gas, entertainment industry, and now I'm landing into the healthcare industry. But there's a lot of similarities and certainly some unique aspects of healthcare. At Southwest Airlines, which was probably one of my bigger programs that I had ever worked with. After 9/11, when the TSA was established, Herb Kelleher, in his wisdom, knew that this was going to be a huge issue for their industry, for their airline in particular, knowing that the way that the government had started the organization, it was with a group of people who were not familiar with airline operations. And it's if you know anything about airline operations, it's a very intricate operation, and it's very dependent across a number of very technical and very time-sensitive pieces of the organization. So he knew, as a protective measure, he needed to do something within his company to start supporting his industry, so that as a group they would all be successful within the new confines of the new rules put in place with the TSA. So I had been there with another capacity with Ernst & Young, doing some large projects with them. And I was called back to help them kind of plan out the organization and think about what they were going to need to put in as an organization to help long-term not just work with the TSA, but also work with other carriers and other airports to figure out, how to make this in a harmonious way, make these laws work. So we looked at the people and the skills that we needed within the company. We looked at the technologies that were involved, and spent a ton of time understanding the technologies, the capabilities of the technologies, and also where the technologies were going, and then also put in place the inner workings of the standardization and the governance of those systems that the TSA wanted to place within the airports, and put all of that together as a program that we rolled out to all of our airports that we worked with. We rolled it out with other carriers. We educated them and brought them along. And then as a group, we would go to the TSA and put forth solutions that met our needs, but also stayed within the confines of the laws that they were put in place to uphold. So we kind of had to come up with a harmonious solution that worked for everybody. So that was an 8-year project for me before I rolled out, and it was very much a one step at a time evolution, and we watched lots of changes in technology evolve over time out of need, but we were also, as a group, able to influence technologies and able to influence the adoption of certain technologies. So with all that in mind, being part of that process was really being integrated between all the different departments across Southwest Airlines that were touched, from legal to the operations to their facilities projects to their contracting group, everything involved in between. So it was quite an experience, I have to say. So I understand quite a bit about complex systems and quick time to market type of solutions.
I would say you probably have been during that time, you've probably been to every airport in the United States.
Seems like it. Close.
I'm gonna, could someone check Angie's miles? She's probably a million miler, right?
That's right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
in any event, from that perspective, Angie, now kind of shifting into the healthcare space and looking at the same type of challenges for scale. You're looking at a space that's basically struggling with having to hire more people and trying to service our patients out there, especially in the rural areas. Obviously, from our perspective, we are looking at how we support the administrative burden and scale with these organizations, kind of alleviate that need. At the same time, we also have to do our scale, our infrastructure changes as well. Working with some of our marquee clients like Walmart and now coming up with the VA and several health systems in the billions of dollars, and then looking at how to build our organizational chart to meet those challenges. Could you speak on the similarities from what you were challenged with in 9/11, which is a totally different animal altogether, but at the same time, overcoming those challenges over that period of time and being able to scale uh, Southwest Airlines today so that it can survive through those times? How do you see your work here in Jorie being very similarly impactful?
Well, I would say I would see the three separate but distinctly related challenges. One was a very short window of time. I mean, things have to happen quickly. For us as a company, we've got a short window of opportunity to really market and distinguish ourselves with our what's unique to us, specific to our healthcare expertise and our minority-owned business status and some of the assets that make us different from everybody else. We've got to be able to exploit that quickly. We're also building an infrastructure from virtually ground up, not completely, but to where we want to go from here to where we're going to need to be is going to have to happen within that time frame in order to be successful. And then out of that are all these simultaneous efforts going on at the same time, and how do you keep all of these moving pieces moving independently but successfully pulled together from a management and a control perspective, so that you constantly have an idea of what's going on, where the risks are, and ultimately how they come together in an organized fashion in a way that meets the demand on a kind of an just-in-time basis. So that includes staffing, it includes systems, it includes facilities, certainly facilities. For us in particular, it's our compliance certifications that we have to receive that have to be in place, as well as just maintaining our operations that are currently in place. So we can't just stop everything and put a new system in. We've got to do it around an existing operation. So I would say that's very much similar to the type of challenges that we had to deal with. And I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned by how you do that and really take a risk mitigation frame of mind about how you could move forward with that.
Well said. And for me as the CEO of the organization, I depend on that infrastructure to take a peek at it and look to see where I'm at. It's kind of the roadmap, and I see like basically as I'm kind of of going for the strategy and trying to push push things in place, I could always depend on you, Angie, and the team to look at the roadmap and go, did I make the right move, or play, or put the right people or right departments in the right organization together, and where our needs are. Speaking of the right moves, next to you, the two lovely ladies who've been nice and quiet. Feel free. This is a podcast. You can shout out, swear, whatever you want to do, right? So,
Okay, awesome.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, you're from Dallas Fort Worth, Texas, Grapevine, Texas. You're basically it's the Wild West for us, right? So,
Yeah, we're pretty
um,
spicy.
I love it. I love it. So that we'll take some of that in Chicago. So, anyways, uh, uh, Angie, talk about, like, you talked about scale. That you have to have people that are are able to help you in the recruitment side, training side, obviously production side, project management side. Why don't you talk about maybe introduce some of the ladies next to you? We can start off with let's say Judy in regards to the recruitment side. And why don't you guys go ahead and first of all, let's start off on how you know each other. Why don't we do that a little bit more personal? Talk about how you got
Okay.
to
Lots
know
of
each other.
history.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lots of
yeah,
history.
yeah. Give us one embarrassing snippet. I'm happy to record it. Please keep the recording on.
No way.
Yeah, I think that all
No
happened
way.
when
We'll
we
have
were
we'll have
drinking,
a
and so none of
contest.
us remember.
Uh,
Now we're
no.
talking.
Well, I will say I moved to Grapevine, Texas, about 27 years ago, and I've been very blessed since that time to have really grown into a community of people and families that take care of each other and that have kind of turned my experience of growing into adult into somewhat reverting back to my childhood in terms of friendships and
Are we all the same?
partnerships and
All right.
adventures.
It is.
Yeah, so I've been lucky to raise my family in Grapevine, to grow a huge circle of friends and people that is really my village and my support system. And these two ladies are part of that as it happens. About a year ago, we knew that we needed, we were going to have to put in some project management, really more of an artery than a layer of project management. We want to infiltrate an artery throughout the company of structure and project management discipline and accountability and organization that'll help us deal with all of these simultaneously moving pieces. At the same time, we know we've got to ramp up a very large number of resources, not just here in Chicago, but across the United States and even in India. We've got a lot of building to do. So between the project management background and having a rock star recruiting effort, those two things had to happen simultaneously. And just so happens that two of my very dear friends also became my colleagues because
right.
they had the right expertise and the right fit at the right time. So I'm really happy to say that we put Grapevine on the map for the trio.
We were literally in her backyard, and a good friend, Angie, was saying that, I'm looking, I need these two roles to fill. Do you know anyone? And a friend of ours, Olivia's like, yeah, Judy Engel, Angela Gair. She's like, really? And we were both looking at the time, and it just all worked out, and it was the perfect fit.
Wow, that's great. I would love to be in that backyard having some barbecue and some ranch water.
Yeah, you would have liked it. You would have enjoyed it, Sal, I promise.
I think it was wine at that time.
I would have
though.
fit right in. I would have fit
You
right
would.
in. But speaking of rockstar recruitment, Judy, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? Tell us, you're doing a lot of the recruitment for us, a lot of the HR. Give us a little bit about what you do for Jorie.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, my background is I have about 20 years of recruiting in various industries. Prior to,
I can cut this out, that's fine.
Can you turn it up?
Bring up the mic to your...
There you go.
Sometimes it just smacks me right in the head. Don't worry about it. We're real close.
now you can hear me? Anyways, so 20 years of recruiting, and in various industries. And prior to coming here, I was doing clinical contract recruiting. So obviously in the healthcare space. Came over here. The learning curve, I guess, would be to learn the medical revenue cycle, medical billing part of it. It is a specialized niche. Candidates pretty much have similar backgrounds when you look at resumes, but for the most part, what you're really looking at in the candidate is transferable skills. We want people that are passionate. We want people that are motivated, someone that takes initiative. They're self-motivated. We want teamwork where they're collaborating with each other. They're collaborating with the clients that we have them working for. They're positive. They're productive. Their competency is also 100% that they are they're interested in working here. They want to be here. Being a great problem solver is another key indicator. And you look for all those transferable skills in the human, in the actual candidate that you're interviewing. Because on a piece of paper, medical billers, coders, I mean, they all have the dictionary skills, right? The education, the certifications that we need for compliance, et cetera. But to find the perfect culture fit that we are looking for here at Jorie is really what we're aiming for ultimately. And I feel like I'm a very genuine person, and I feel that comes across to candidates. I've been told that, and I think that's what makes me a good recruiter, as well as just within, in a grocery store, the first 5 minutes, I can find out a lot about somebody.
People open
that
up to
I
her.
don't even know. Yeah.
It's amazing.
She should be like a FBI interrogator.
Seriously, yes.
So, actually, I worked at the police department in Edmonton. So, yes, I'm Canadian. I've been here 26 years, dual citizen, and I did start in the legal field. So I do kind of always have that investigative nature in my mind when I'm looking at people and interviewing candidates. But finding the perfect fit altogether, skills, personality, culture, whether or not they're going to want to work here and stay here, because you don't want to hire somebody that's going to be gone in a month or two, right?
No.
We're looking to build this organization, and we want people to and be committed and contribute towards the success that we're all working towards as a group, as a family, per se. So.
Sal, if I can just
And I-
interject.
Yes.
I think all of the things that all of those attributes that she mentioned, I think as we've literally tripled the size of our U.S. organization in the last 6 months, that I would say that's a consistent thing you would see across everybody we've hired, and it shows in the number of resumes they go through just to get to one person, and the thorough dedication they have to their interviews. And we have our operations people and the ultimate owners of those different departments actually interviewing people once they've been really well filtered out and the highest potential candidates identified. So this has been a very intricate and collaborative process across the company to be able to identify the candidates that meet all those boxes that we were able to check.
Absolutely. And as soon as they come on, they're rock stars, and they make an immediate impact within the first month, probably the first 2 weeks, I would say. Judy is excellent at what she does.
It's revealing itself that you could talk about any company, but the core starts right here in the people, right? If you could talk about family, you could talk about work ethic, you could talk about responsibility, you could talk about even having fun and enjoying your life visions, right? Life balance, right? And at the end of the day, it all starts here when you interview someone to come into that family environment, right? So speaking of that, why don't you talk to us about some numbers that you elaborated to me earlier, like how someone had mentioned to me about how many people you recruited in the last few months or so, and how many resumes you had to go through.
So from June 1st to December 8th, We hired 67 new hires, and we went through 10,983 resumes.
To be exact.
So
I
to
don't-
put
I
it
don't-
to put it in perspective, that's, I believe I calculated 168 resumes per
Right.
position.
Right.
All right, let me try to count to 10,000 right now. All right, you guys have a few days. I can't even read a whole page, let alone up to 10,000. You know, I mean that's incredible. That's amazing. So when you have to break that down, you know, I would say that you're quite selective in regards to who you let into the family, but at the same time, I think that for those that are viewing this, right, that when you want to come into an excellent organization, you want that kind of benchmark, so that the people around you are going to be as excellent as you are, right? To So that you could depend on each other, to that when you know you're not carrying the burden for 10 other people, you're all pitching in no matter what your roles and responsibilities are. From that perspective, I think that, you know, having an idea of scalability, and going back on the topic, how do you scale into a multi-billion-dollar organization and do double, triple digit growth in a short period of time, and have to throw people into it that without just throwing people into it, right? This is why. This is how we do it, right? Is there a song like that? This is no, no. Anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, so the what I'd like to now shift this over to Angela, and so obviously here's how I see this going. You got Angie, who's like helping us get all the infrastructure processes in place, working under our COO Chris Mashburn, and myself to get the organizational chart together. Then you have facilitators that also excellent leaders, like Angela, recruiting and training the right Judy, recruiting and training the right people into our family. And now we need to have uh, the I would say the projects or the processes and the workforce, organizational infrastructure, to make sure that we maintain the delivery of our product. Now we have production people which aren't on this call, but one of them here is Angela, who's in the beginning stages of a lot of these processes that the workforce ends up being relegated to, and then it's in the project management side, and that's again we're talking about infrastructure, project management. That's now part of scaling a multi-billion. So those three things are going hand in hand. Where we're doing organizational chart, we're going recruitment. Now, once they're recruited, project management on various different projects. At least on your perspective, Angela, tell us a little bit about your role on that side of the fence, and you know what are you doing for our clients to help deliver our product to the healthcare system.
Right. Thanks, Sal. Um, the main thing I do is listen, communicate, and collaborate. I get to listen in. Right now, I'm working with Larry, our data analyst team, and the main thing is to look at their processes, look at their flows, and create something visually that I can go through and ask questions to see if I can improve the process. Maybe something they didn't think about, because a lot of times if you're in it, you don't see where you can make slight changes here and there. Another thing is I'm a Scrum Master, and it's a product management methodology, and it deals with collaboration communication, and it's based on an iterative process. And so instead of waiting till a project is completely done, you work in phases. We call them sprints. And you work on some items, and then you take it back to the client, the stakeholders. You have a meeting, you talk about it, and then you keep moving forward. So you're always sharing what you've worked on in a sprint, a week or 2 week sprint. Another thing that's very important is what a Scrum Master does is I go and remove blocks. So if Larry needs something, instead of him having to go to you or Chris or anyone, I'll take that information and I'll go to you to get it so he can continue working on what he needs to work on, the dashboards for our clients. So that's how I help, is I kind of take everything that he needs done to get information, to continue to move forward, and then I make a clear path for him. I'm maybe kind of like the center a little bit in a football team. I don't know, you kind of make sure everyone's, stay away from the quarterback. Let our development team work, let our teams work. And that's one of my favorite parts, is just collaborating, communication, and listening.
That's so awesome. I mean, we definitely see that every part is important for success, right? One little piece that's missing there could throw off the entire project or delay, right? So at the end of the day, folks, you can see how wonderful a team could be. That it can't be done by one person. You can't scale into multi-billion with a one-man department. Each person affects 10 other people behind them, and so forth and so forth. And that's how we get to about 1,400 people working in sync, right? Hopefully, right? It's never ever perfect, but the idea that we're aware of the roles and the responsibilities and our timelines, et cetera, allow us to grow and scale. And that's really exciting. Obviously for Jorie, our building blocks are our people, and that's key. In any event, I just wanted to say thank you to all for watching this podcast. We have any closing remarks from the ladies here? No, just
Go Cowboys!
Dallas.
Go Cowboys!
Go Cowboys! Right?
Go Texas Tech! Rackham Tech!
I'd go Bears next year.
Oh, bless their heart. Bless their heart. That's what we say in Texas.
They can help be a spoiler, maybe 1.2% chance of making the playoffs. Anyway, I won't talk about that. But anyhow, thanks again for watching the latest version of Jorie Tech Talks, and I hope to have you on again. We're going to have incredible, engaging conversations coming up in the next week. Thank you, ladies, for coming on board. You represent the best of Jorie, and you represent how others would perceive us in the industry as an organization, as a family, and it's just good people, right? And so at the end of the day, I think that this is why Jorie is successful. It's because of our employees and our partners that work with us. Next coming up, we'll be sharing a lot of our insights on some of our thought leaders. I think tomorrow George Miller is coming on board, and George is the former national president of the Rural Hospital Association. We'll have some topics in regards to that, and was advisor to two presidents of the United States. So it's going to be really exciting to see what his insights there, as well as Scott Tefteller will be joining us as well, and Scott is also CEO of a $1.5 billion health system. All these topics and more are coming up, along with other jokes. And we, if I get a chance to embarrass anyone, just forgive me. I'm still going to embarrass you. But anyways, thank you so much for watching.
Oh, good.
And we'll close out here. Thank you again.
Go JT.
Go JT.
Go JT. Go JT.
Yeah.
Bye.